I wouldn't want to call this one as a lecture because, personally speaking, I really feel so. What's the best term for it? Parang not that deserving to be standing in front of you guys because in this industry there have been a lot of gardeners who have been there for the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and the likes of Sir Mario Atilio, Sir Boyet, my gosh, Mr. Konzo, and our Thai friends. So many more names to mention, but I think siguro I was given hindi naman siguro talent, but more of an opportunity lang to share also with you. So, okay, let's begin muna. And before I do, in any video that I usually do, I usually have that introduction. And I would usually say, hey guys, I'm happy that you're here. My name is Bechoy and I am your plantito from Mindanao. But for today's video, I'll be your lecturer. Hindi muna tayo mag-vlog. We'll be doing a sort of discussion on the things which I believe wholeheartedly you already know. We just need some reminders. I think that's the best term, the better term for this one. And also, we'll try to make this one as interactive. So, maghanda po kayo. Meron tayong mga question and answer. Pwede kayo magtanong sa akin or ako din magbabato ng question sa inyo. But don't worry, hindi naman siya pang beauty pageant level na talagang pagpapawisan tayo in answering this question. So let's just make this very interactive as much as possible. I think you're here to learn something from me and vice versa ako din. I'm also here to learn something from you and all the other people who are here. And then, okay. Wait. Okay, there it is. So the title of our discussion today will be Plant Care 101. So by the name itself, 101, it should be very basic, very simple. Let's not tackle on the very details like very scientific, scientific names. We'll just make it very simple for all of our audience, especially sa mga medyo kaka-start lang, for it to be very easy to absorb. So it's just simple. Plant Care 101 by Bechoy and everybody else here in front of us. Okay. Again, I mentioned earlier that I've been doing vlogging and live selling most of the time, but never lecture. I don't want to lecture you guys. I think most of you here are more experienced than me, being in the plant business or in gardening for how many years. I've been only in this industry for like 5 years, and but up to this point, I still believe that it's still a continuous learning na experience. So parang graduation lang din siya, commencement exercise. So ito, my first question muna, and I hope somebody in here can answer this question. Why do you love plants? Any volunteer? Sige, volunteer lang, volunteer. Madam Ina, meron tayong pa freebie sa mag-a-answer ng mga questions? Sindapsus? Ay, meron. There is a freebie Sindapsus if somebody is going to answer. Okay, we have a first volunteer here. You want to answer, madam? Okay, why do you love plants?
They lessen my stressful life. Pawala sa stress.
Stress reliever. Anybody else? Oh, kindly list down the name of Ma'am
Emily.
Si Ma'am Emily. Okay, lista natin yan, Ma'am. Papa-screenshot natin mamaya. Who else?
Plants symbolize growth and change, and it reminds me that through time we can make something happen.
Oh, it's very deep. Amazing answer. So stress reliever is something that you are looking forward to grow, something like that. So that's a very good answer, and I also like that one. So we have another question here. What was your story? Why you started with? I want to ask this question to somebody I know. What was your story? Why you started with plants? Kaso lang he's busy over the phone pa. Okay, wait lang. Okay, he's here now. So a very good friend of mine. Sir, dali diri sir. Sir Lawrence Go of Filipina. So I think he was already introduced earlier. Sir, can you answer this question, sir? Di na lang ko muhatag na mong sindap so sir kay murag dili na ni mo level.
So it's a very funny story for me. I didn't grow up in a household that really appreciated plants. So my first exposure to plants was when I stayed in my wife's house. Her mother-in-law was the past president of the Cebu Orchid Society, and then she had a passion for plants, from orchids to succulents and everything else in between. But I learned to love plants because I was into cocktail making. It's a funny story. I was so into cocktail making because it's a shared passion for me and my wife. And then at one point we had to make tiki cocktails like mojitos, and then usually mojitos and the tiki cocktails are recommended that to make them beautiful, you can garnish them with orchid flowers. And because orchid flowers are edible. So that's where I started plants, because from one passion to another passion, I started growing herbs. And then from herbs, because I wanted the cocktails to be fresh, from herbs, I started growing orchids because I started with dendrobiums and then bandas. And then I learned to love even the other genres of orchids like Cattleya. And then eventually I found myself in other houseplants and the variegated plants already. But good to say that I'm still enjoying plants. And then what really fueled my passion was also other members of the plant community, like Sir Bechoy. I already scanned through all of his YouTube videos. not just once, but maybe 10 times. I guess because I learned to love plants because I also met other people who love plants also. So when you're surrounded by people who share same interests, and then that's where you grow, and then that's where you find yourself. When I met Ina, that's now where we find ourselves with a show here in Cebu already. So I think it's more than just plants. It's about connecting people for me.
Thank you so much, Sir Lawrence of Filo Verde, guys. The Filo Verde. So that was a very what do you call this? Very detailed story behind why Sir Lawrence loved plants. So we all have different stories. I have a different story. I'm one of the pandemic babies. I think meron din marami dito ng mga pandemic babies, but there are a lot ng mga gardeners who have been in this industry for how many years. They are the pillars of this industry. So I really salute them. That's why I feel so parang not so deserving in front of you guys, kasi sila yung, in terms of experience and all the knowledge, they are more deserving to discuss in front of you. But andito na pala yung podium. Ayan, sponsored by SM. Thank you very much, SM. We got it all for you. Wala, plugging na yun ha. Anyway, it was mentioned earlier, and this is one of my favorite taglines, guys. Plants make people happy. Is this correct? Is this true? Yeah. And raise your hand if you agree with this one. Yeah. I think most people really agree with this. Nasabi kanina ni Ma'am Emily, it's stress reliever. Our pastime. If you have some free times, the afternoon or in the evening, instead of like watching Netflix, YouTube, we do gardening. It makes us more happy. Yun, pastime then. And isa din is business opportunity. I guess this is one of the, I think this is already common before, but during the pandemic time, we already saw the opportunity that plants has given us. And I'm one of them also, yung nabigyan ng mga business opportunities when pandemic started. So people were just staying at home and we were not allowed to go out. So we couldn't do anything. Netflix na tayo, YouTube is very boring. So parang naging cycle lang siya until eventually there were plans na na-introduce sa atin. And this is where I came into the scenario. So, ito din, di ba supposedly it should make people happy. It's our stress reliever. But then, sino ba makaka-relate sa question na ito? Supposedly it's a stress reliever, so why am I now so stressed with my plans? Who can relate to this one, guys? Sino na bang hindi nakakapagbakasyon kasi natatakot maiwanan yung kanilang mga halaman ng kahit 3 days lamang? Diba? Raise your hand. Yan, amen to all of us. It's very difficult for us to leave our garden for like, I myself, when I travel, at most, I can only leave the garden for a maximum of 10 days. Anything beyond that, it's very scary already. Basta it's very scary. So I think that's one of the reasons why it makes us stress. And also, any other reason here, bakit tayo nasa-stress sa mga plants?
Reverting.
Reverting sa mga plants. Any other answer? Why is it na nasa-stress na tayo sa Madam Baby Moody? Bakit tayo nasa-stress sa mga plants? Narurutrat daw. ano pa nakakapag-stress sa atin sa mga plants? Sino na dito yung namatayan ng mga plants? Raise daw, huwag kayong mahiya. Kasama din ako niyan. Ayun, we can all relate to that one, guys. So, supposedly stress reliever siya, pero naging stressful na din sa atin. Kasi gusto natin, we would want to maintain its beauty, perfect variegations, perfect setting, no root rots, pest-free, and so many other things, shiny leaves, perfect leaves, and all those things. So natanong ka na kanina, how many of you here have killed your plants? A lot of people raised their hands. Yung next question ko is,
How many plants?
how many plants have you killed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's the thing, guys. Hindi ka full-fledged na plantito or plantita kung wala ka pang napatay na halaman. That's one thing I can really tell you. Agree? You agree to this one?
Yes.
Diba? Kasi ito din. Pero, even though marami tayong namamatay ng mga plants, we still keep on buying. Sino ba ang mga ano nito? Sino ba mag-agree din ito? a lot of people. Kahit na namatayan na tayo ng 2, 3, 4, diba? Sige, let's still buy some more plants. Kasi meron pang space yung garden natin for some more plants natin. Yung na-vacate nung ating mga previous plants, meron na tayong ulit na space. And ito, it's very, ano lang siya, very common, very applicable siya, not just sa plants, but in day-to-day life natin. Experience is one of the best teachers in life. There are some things that we learn from school, but there are also things that we learn from our day-to-day activities. That's very applicable in life. But sometimes, yung experience is very costly, especially with plants na namamatay. Pwede kaya ako magtanong dito, no? Sa mga namatayan na ng mga plants, si Miss Cathy siguro. I'll ask Miss Cathy, if if you're okay to answer this one, much better. But if not, okay lang din. Magkano yung pinakamahal na plant na deads in your collection?
Oh my, hindi ko na maalala. Siguro mga 5,000 o something. Maliit lang.
Mga 5,000 pesos, that's just one plant. But still, 5,000 is 5,000 pesos. You can do a lot with 5,000 pesos. So, we all have one goal dito, guys. Gusto natin mapanatili yung plants natin. Gusto natin, we want to keep it in our garden as long as andyan lang siya. Hanggang eternity kung pwede nga lang talaga. Yan yung pinaka-goal natin. Pagandahin siya, propagate, and then paramihin, all that stuff. So, this is where we start with our discussion. Again, this is Plant Care 101, just very basic. Wag tayong sobrang mga details na guys, yung mga tissue culture. It's very ibang level na yan, mga pang Einstein level na yan, pang Bechoy lang tayo. Din lang tayo. So, for this discussion, we'll be having 5 subtopics for the Plant Care 101. We'll start with the lighting. Magdi-discuss tayo dito later on ng mga paisa-isa, watering medium or the potting mix that we're using. Also the fertilizer and the fungicides and pesticides for our plants. So first, okay, let's discuss the lighting. So all the other 5 things that we have mentioned earlier, they are, I believe they are co-equal in terms of importance. It's not like I place lighting as number 1, doesn't mean that it's the most important thing. This is my personal opinion. All the other things, and maybe there are some other, maybe sub-topics beyond these 5 that are also very applicable. So let's start first with the lighting. Very important, lighting for our plants. Ganda ko na. Imagine, it's been 10 years since I've had a presentation like this. And kanina, I was very scared kasi kinakabahan ko may makikinig kaya sa akin kung mag-talk ako mamaya. Well, anyway, lighting is very important, guys. And it's one of the most important thing that our plant needs for it to, what's the, ano bang year ito in high school? Is this second year biology? First year high school. Why is lighting very important to our plants?
Photosynthesis.
Any guess? Why is lighting very important? What is that scientific process that plants do that involves lighting?
Photosynthesis and the creation of the chlorophyll.
Wow, galing ni Ma'am Emily ha. Parang nag-review siya. So, photosynthesis, yes, correct. That's the very first thing, guys, the importance of lighting, because in the process of photosynthesis, just go come up no split tayo dito. But just to make it very simple, photosynthesis is the process of the plant by which it absorbs light, processes it, and for the plant to produce plant food. So it needs light. Kung walang light, walang photosynthesis na mangyayari. So by the name itself, photo means light. Synthesis, magsisynthesize sila or gagawa sila ng something. There. It's the process of producing food for our plants. Of course, to survive and or thrive. So depende yan guys kung gaano kagandang lighting yung ibibigay nyo for its survivability, or kung maganda talaga yung may ibibigay nyo ay mag-thrive yung ating mga plants. Different plants have different lighting requirements. So would agree to this one.
Yeah.
Ano yung isang halaman based in your experience that nagre-require lang ng konting-konting lighting kahit ilagay mo sa loob ng bahay na magsusurvive? Ay, si Ma'am Hachi. Ito, nahihiyan ako. Dito talaga sana kasi.
Photos.
Epiprimnum na pothos. Epiprimnum aureum pothos. Yeah, they can survive indoors kahit sa sala. Meron nga naglalagay niyan sa CR. No? Pothos, very tsaka ano pa ba? Snake plants. Pwede din. Ano pa ba? Ito. Give me an example of a plant that really requires sufficient lighting. Ito, tatanungin ko si Ma'am Enchi. Cactus. Okay, cactus. Yan, pwede din. And most of the plants, especially the green ones, bougainvilleas, di ba? They require a lot of light. Ano pa ba dito? Ilang kong shadow. Basta, there are a lot of, ito yung iti-take note natin. Different plants require different lighting. So for most of us here, guys, especially those who own variegated plants, it's very important that we provide the lighting needed for our plants. You can have it outdoors, pwede namang indoors with our use of grow lights. So, ito yung mga iba't ibang mga lightings na dapat natin i-provide sa ating mga plants. So, when merong mga full sun, yung mga regular na mga plants natin, fruit-bearing trees, agricultural products, itong mga pang-landscaping, they would require full sun all throughout the day. Filtered sun, most of our ornamental plants sa mga garden collections natin, yung nininet talaga natin with 70% garden net shade from Thailand. And meron ding iba na pwede lang silang nakasilong lang, medyo maliwanag, and then they would still thrive. And then meron din mga shaded or mga naka-indoor by the use of grow lights. So it's very important to know what kind of plant you have and identify as well kung ano yung kanyang kakailanganin na lighting. Because it's not applicable na if a full sun mo, it should be full sun with all your plants. Different plants, different lighting requirements. That's one thing that we should take note of. And also, the schedule. This is one thing that I'd really like to emphasize because most of us would think that providing our plants with lighting all throughout the day, like for 24/7, is good. Perhaps because it means that if you provided light, the plant will continuously produce food for itself, produce more leaves, strengthen roots. What else? For some flowering plants, produce more flowers, etc. But this is one thing I've also learned, that it's also important for plants to get some rest because in the natural setup, in nature, our plants get lighting from sunrise up to sunset only. During that time, they also take a rest. So, parang same lang din yan ng tao. We also need the plants also need some rest. And one thing I have noticed with this one, guys, which is also why it's also important to give them some rest in terms of lighting, is because if there are times like, for example, if you're into selling plants and you would want to sell them, lilipat yan to another person, another collector. So, ipapack mo yan. So, medyo masistress siya. So, more or less, kapag na-subject na natin siya sa meron siya mga resting time during the night time, that would be very good. Parang i-boost din niya, i-strengthen din niya yung kanyang sariling immune system because we provided it with the rest that it also needs. Ito. Lighting is lighting, so there is no substitute for lighting. Meaning, if insufficient yung lighting na napoprovide natin sa ating mga plants, hindi po siya mako-compensate with adding more fertilizers. Hindi siya mako-compensate with watering your plants more often than it should be. So lighting is lighting, it should be provided kung kakailanganin talaga ng ating mga plants. So if you have questions pala, pwede naman siguro mag-raise lang din. And then, 100 pesos lang po each question. Hindi, joke lang. Hindi. You can ask questions, guys. Huwag lang yung mga pang beauty pageant kasi ang hirap ng mga tanong na mga ganun. Well, anyway, so that's it for the lighting. And now we proceed with the watering of our plants. So I think it's very self-explanatory. Water is life. So any living organism would really require water. Human, animals, plants, lahat po tayo nagre-require ng water. And this is one thing, ano lang ito dyan guys, general rule lang ito for ornamental plants or mga collection natin ng mga plants. Contrary to popular beliefs, we actually do not need to water our plants daily. Meron mag-object. I'm open to, siguro it depends on what plant. But most of the ornamental plants that we have, like most of the ones that you see here, they would not require daily watering. Si cactus ba? I'm not into CNS kasi. Si CNS ba? Daily ba? Hindi din. Snake plants, yung snake plants, kahit once a month, no? Pwede. What else? Yeah, I think we would really agree to this one. It's not necessary to water our plants daily. Water only when necessary. So how do we, sir, may I ask your name, sir? Joseph. And what is your collections mostly?
I haven't tried ornamental plants,
But-
but I've tried burrows, agriculture, and some trees. Trees more, trees the one is
Mga plant killer. That's why I'm here.
So it's okay, it's okay. So usually, what's in your collection right now?
Nabi snake plants, mga photos. Photos is quite hard to kill, so I still have it. Snake plants. Napatay gapon ako.
Imagine pati snake plants patay ni ma'am din. But anyway, so for you, si snake plants, how often do you water them?
Honestly, like I used to water them kind of like every day or like every 3 days, they die. So like sometimes I just forget about them. But when I forget about them, they thrive. Yeah. So snake plants are like that, I guess. So yeah. Other plants, I don't know other plants do need photos. Forget. Yeah. The more I forget about them, the more they thrive. Yeah. So that's why I can't kill them.
Yeah, so that's the reason why in-emphasize ko talaga dito sa number 1 natin guys that we do not need to water our plants daily. Yung mga plants natin, they also have tawag dito, mechanism sa kanilang system na kahit hindi natin sila i-water, they get to absorb water from the environment, moisture from air, yung mga ganon, and from the soil itself, kahit na hindi natin siya masyadong ma-water. So, water only when necessary. Frequency, it depends on your plants. And, ayun, depends on various factors. Kung anong genus. During summertime, of course, it's expected that our plants, our medium would dry up faster than the usual, that compared during rainy season. So, it's expected that during summertime, we water more frequent as compared to during rainy seasons. And I think you would also agree with this one. Again guys, all these things that I'm mentioning here, I think these are just very basic things, reminders to all of us of the basic things kasi sa sobrang basic na niya, nalilimutan na natin. Ito, components of the medium natin. So again, different plants natin, philodendrons, they prefer aroid mix, chunky, airy, fast raining, very non-compact, hindi siya yung compact. Si succulents, I think mostly mga pumice ang gamit, fast raining din sila. So it depends kung ano yung medium na ginagamit. Depending on the medium, ganun din yung magbabasehan natin kung gano'n din tayo ka-frequent mag-water ng ating mga plants. Ito din, during summer season, it's also very important that we also consider misting sa ating mga plants. Kasi sometimes, when we water our plants, the medium, kung yung medium lang yung wino-water natin, minsan yun lang yung basa, nakaka-absorb ng water yung ating mga plants. But yung mga leaves natin, because of the hot season, mas mabilis silang mag-dry. So we also need to parang supplement the moisture in the environment para hindi mag-dry up din yung ating mga leaves. Ito din. Check the water quality of your plant, of your water. Yan. Make sure that it's clean, it's not muddy, it's not, there is this one problem that we have mostly in metropolitan areas, yung hardness ng water. I think a lot of you will agree to this one here in Cebu. Grabe, sobrang hard. When we say hard, guys, yun yung may mga minerals, ano nga yan? Ano nga yung hardness? Calcium, mga carbonates, magnesium, tama ba? Isa yung mga ganun kasalimutan. Ito pala, nakakahiya, baka meron akong professor dito nung college. I'm a graduate of chemical engineering sa University of San Carlos. So, hopefully wala ako teacher. Masin tapugon ko nila yung ganyan. Kaya nakalimut na ko sa kuwan. But hardness of water, that's one problem. For us who are in the provincial areas, in the sub-Saharan desert, sub-Saharan district, hardness of water is not much of a problem because hindi pa masyadong exploited yung mga namin talaga. Hindi pa masyadong exploited yung mga reservoir natin as compared dito sa Cebu or in Metro Manila or in Luzon. So we're very lucky, hindi ganun ka-hard. Parang sagwa na. Hindi ganun ka yung quality na lang ng water natin doon sa mga provincial areas is very good. So, I cannot dwell more on the hardness on water, guys, kasi it's, for dito sa Cebu and some other, I think there are so many other processes that can help solve that one. One thing for sure, do not add water softener in your hard water. Hindi siya pwede kasi, yung water softener kasi is salt yung nilalagay doon para mapasoften yung water. So, salt, i-water mo, naku. Sumalangit nawa yung halaman natin. Tutuloy niya yan. So, water softener is not applicable for us, mga plantitos and plantitas na pang-treat doon sa mga hard water. Merong mas expensive. Reverse osmosis is one thing. Or you can buy purified water for 25 pesos per 5 gallons. It's more affordable than killing your plants, I guess. Okay, so any question with regard to our watering? Let's make the questions later. Okay, let's proceed to the medium or the potting mix, or sometimes we call it a soil mix, but huwag natin tawagin yung soil mix, guys, kasi bawal yan sa mga, technically speaking, yung soil talaga, it's bawal siya na i-transport from this place to another place kasi it might bring some live microorganisms na makakasama sa ecosystem ng ibang lugar. So that's why it's very strict talaga na yung soil. Kaya pero atin-atin lang to, yung mga humalumenas guys, maganda talaga sila pag merong soil yung gagamitin niya sa inyong garden. But other than that, let's just label this one as medium kasi, or media, potting mix, soil mix kasi when we use the term soil mix, parang nagiging synonymous din siya sa soil mismo, loam soil, black soil, clay. Again, same with the watering of our plants, yung components ng ating potting mix or medium, also nagdi-differ din yan kung ano din yung klaseng kung anong klaseng mga plants din yung inaalagaan natin. Every plant requires a different potting mix. I mentioned earlier most of the aroids, our ornamental plants, monsteras, philodendrons, they require yung medyo chunky with cocoa chips, cocoa cubes, pumice, perlite, and all that stuff. Si cactus, sinong mga expert dito ng mga cactus and succulents? Ano bang what's the usual potting mix for the cactus and the succulents? Same lang na?
Pumice, and I put a cocoa peat and soil.
Sinong mahilig dito sa mga bougainvilleas? Ay, orchids na lang, orchids. Sino makaka-relate sa mga orchids dito? Orchids, ito, si Miss Kathy. Ano bang, yung orchids is hanging, no?
Kaya iba-iba eh. So like, pag dendrobium, di ba parang coco cubes. Tapos pagka banda, it's nakahang lang siya, na walang medium eh. So it depends eh. Even within orchid, ang daming iba-iba. Like Phalaenopsis, iba yun. Pang moss naman. So yun, it's different eh.
That's exactly my point. Each plant, guys, they would require different potting mix. Yung potting mix mo ng dendrobium, yung ng banda mo, it's not applicable for cactus. It's not applicable for bougainvilleas. Ano nga itong tawag sa mga ganito, guys? Ano nga ito? Bromeliads! Bromeliads. Ano din yung, sino mga bromeliads lovers dito? Baka si Doc Corn. Doc Corn, what's the usual potting mix? Sir, what's the usual potting mix for bromeliads?
No, old fertilizers.
So they prefer more on compact, moisture-loving si bromeliads, correct? Kasi pang outdoor sila. So that's one thing that we should take note, guys. Each plant talaga, they have different requirements. So that's one thing that kung meron tayo sa ating mga halaman sa ating bahay, and then iniisip natin lang, oh, why does it keep on dying? I've purchased like 10 times of this and it keeps on dying on me, without knowing that you're using a potting mix applicable for cactus. You have a bromeliad and you're using a potting mix for cactus. Key compositions of our potting mix. Sino bang hindi nakakakilala ng coco cubes? I think lahat tayo nakakakilala coco cubes. Coconut is, what's the saying ganit na sa coconut? Tree of life. There, tree of life, si coconut. Dami-dami niyang purpose. Even to the last, yung timber, pangkahoy, yung dahon, pwedeng gawing pangkusok. Ang iyahang tukog, pwedeng walis tingting. Yung fruit niya, of course, yung fruit itself, yung nasa loob, pangkain, yung bagul. Ano yan sa English yung bagul? Bagul. Shell, coconut shell. Coconut shell. Pwedeng panguling. Tapos, and coconut husk, yan, dyan tayo. Dyan natin siya nagagamit sa ating mga plants. Coco cubes, coco peat, even the coco fiber rope is from the coconut husk. Coco chips also, from the coco cubes lang din yan na parang pino-pino. Coco peat, yan na-mention natin. Perlite, what's the purpose of perlite and pumice? May volunteer si Ma'am Menchi. Gusto ko tanongin. Purpose of pumice and perlite?
It's for draining.
For draining. Because yung pumice and perlite, they do not absorb. Actually, they do absorb water, but not as much as coco peat, as the coconut husk. So the main purpose of the pumice, the rocks, lava rocks, small stones, pebbles, perlite is for drainage. Drainage ng water kapag nagwa-water tayo. And also, it also provides yung yung makakapag-flow yung air. Circulate yung air, yeah, that's the better term. Rice hull, ano pa purpose ng rice hull?
Loosens the compact soil. It helps loosen the compact soil.
Correct. And also, it also helps in absorbing din yung moisture, for example, from the coco peat or the coconut husk. It absorbs also yung moisture na naandun, and then considering kasi si rice hull has faster drying time, so it would also help in the pagpapabilis na pagdadry na ating mga medium. Kasi we would also not want our medium to be wet at all times. Kasi pag palaging basa naman yung ating medium, it's prone to prone to root rot because yung moisture kasi guys, nag-a-attract yan ng mga fungus. Alam, galing nila, oh. Perfect! Let's give ourselves a round of applause kasi ang galing natin. So generally guys, yung mga ROH natin, this one, I'm tackling about the ROH guys kasi it's most of the plants that I'm taking care of. Maybe if you have some other types of plants or genus, pwede namang take note nyo yan, do some research, and compare also if there are some other people in the same genre natin. Pwede talaga yan, magtanong din sa kanila. Yan. Take note that it's very important talaga to know what kind of plant you have so that from there, alam mo din kung anong potting mix yung gagamitin ninyo. So nasa number 3, tapos na tayo sa number 3. Dito na tayo sa ating number 4. O yun. Hindi pa pala, part pa ito na number 3. This is very risky, but it's very rewarding once you get the right mixture for your plants. Trust me guys, when I started with plants, I also searched sa mga YouTube, sa mga Facebook. Marami tayong mga idols dito. Siyempre, it's very important kasi during the mga times before, swerte nga tayo ngayon because we already have YouTube, we have Facebook. Marami ng mga vloggers and mga influencers which we can ask or get inspiration from or makakuha tayo ng mga ideas. You can follow yung mga sinasabi or minimension ng ating mga fellow vloggers, content creators. But then, I would really encourage you all to experiment. What's the best potting mix for your own plants? Kasi, yung tinitignan natin na mga videos, guys, once gumawa ka na ng hindi mo naman yan pwedeng i-question doon sa nag-create na video na, is this the correct one? Ito ba yung tama yan? Kasi ikaw naman mismo yung nasa harapan ng halaman mo, you would know, like, if you have repotted a plant, just 3 days after, you would know kung hiyang siya or hindi. Diba? As short as 3 days, sometimes nga, 1 day pa lang, kinabukasan, malalaman mong hindi talaga siya sang-ayon dun sa kanya kinalalagyan kasi parang hinang-hina na talaga siya. But again, take note guys, it's very important that I highly recommend that you experiment until such time that you attain the best possible potting mix for your plants. Again, different plants have different potting mix requirements. Hindi po siya one size fits all. You get ideas from others. Wala naman pong, especially if you have so many friends in plant industry, you can always ask them, exchange notes with them, and who knows? Ito yung gusto ko din i-highlight. Different growing conditions. So, what's applicable for me might not be applicable for you, even though we are talking about or we are discussing on the exact same plant. Because we have different environments. Very correct, sir. I might be living in the sea level. Your friend or you might be living there 7,000, yung 2,000 feet lang siguro, mga Baguio levels. Tama ba? 2,000 feet pa yung Baguio? Or something like that. Basta medyo high altitude. So, we have different growing conditions. So, that's why it's very important that we go back to this one. To experiment. Get some ideas from others and then experiment on your own. Observe if it's applicable for you or not. And dito naman guys sa plant industry, hindi naman ito right minus wrong. Kung nagkamali ka with your potting mix, medyo masakit nga lang kasi baka maging sacrificial lamb yung mga plants natin. So, yun lang. Get ideas from other friends with the same yung mga genus ng mga plants natin. Ayun na, sa fertilizer na tayo sa part 4. Meron bang gustong mag-question with the three topics that we have discussed earlier? Meron bang mga early questions? Or pwede din later na lang din natin, yan na natin para maisa. Kasi baka masagot din siya later on. So we're now on the fourth part, and this is the fertilizer. Hello, sir. Okay, ito. Fertilizer is a must. Why? Why is it? Merong, anybody here who care? Okay, give me, kahit anong answer lang. Wala naman ditong right answer, walang perfect answer. Sir, may I know your name, sir? Aba. Sir, why is fertilizer a must?
To supplement the nutrients gani of the soil. Okay.
Guys, sige sir. We're gonna say answer.
Okay,
How
bro.
may I translate it to Japanese?
Okay. Work. Nasa ino kay nagay ka ng NPK sir.
Bright kini mga taga Cebu eh. Proud kayo sa mga taga Cebu kay bright kayo sila. So fertilizer is a must, guys, because hindi, wag mo na yan. Fertilizer is a must kasi not all the nutrients needed by our plants can be sourced from the potting mix. Yan yung sinabi ni Sir Aba kanina. Hindi mo, you cannot source all the nutrients needed by the plants for plant growth from the soil. So that's why we have to supplement it. Very correct term, very proper term, yung supplement. Supplement, again, supplement ha, not supply lang. Supplement meaning to say, ano sabi Bisaya na supplement na?
Vitamins.
Ano ba yan? I think you know the idea already of this. I don't know the translation of supplement. Something that's going to provide then the things that aren't provided by the other thing. Yung ganon, supplement. Supplementary card. Parang hindi siya applicable. So, si fertilizer, there are two types of fertilizers. The organic and inorganic fertilizer. I remember my college days because this is also one of our topics back in college. I hope na hindi ako magkamali dito. Wait. So, organic fertilizers, animal manure or compost. What are the usual organic fertilizers that we are very familiar with?
Chicken poop.
Cow manure.
Chicken
manure. Chicken dung? Tama na? Chicken dung. Yes. Horse. Ay, hindi naman tayo dito. Wala naman masyadong hasyenda dito sa Cebu.
Vermicast juice.
Goat. Pwede din. Cow.
Vermi-juice.
Huwag lang yung aso, guys. Hindi siya pwede. Hindi pwede yung aso. Lalo-lalo na yung pig. Very, very concentrated. Yung yung chicken dung, it has to be treated. I think it's the same with other animal manures. It needs to be treated pa before they can be used. Di lang ako masyadong know-how sa mga specifics with that one. Isa din sa mga pinaka-popular na mga organic fertilizers are the compost. I think it's also considered as part of the animal manure. Animal ba yung mga worms? Yes, correct. Vermicast. Perfect answer. Compost, ano ba yung mga compost? Ito, this is elementary days na discussion. Yung mga tinatapon na mga banana peelings, some other vegetables, mga nasira na ng mga vegetable, compost, sa lupa, magkakalo, magdig. Maghukay, Diyos ko. Maghukay ng hole, tapos doon magagawa ng mga compost. Then meron na niya mga iba't ibang different applications. Pwede din niyang gamitin. Pero, I personally, when I started with the plants, nag-umpisa din ako with organic kasi we love organic. Parang gusto natin natural, di ba? Ganun, di ba? Pero guys, aminin natin guys. Medyo mahirap talaga siya, di ba?
Pag madami.
Pag maramihan na yung gagawin mo, mag-mix ka, tapos may amoy din, di ba? Tapos ang dumi-dumi na lang kuko natin. But anyways, ano pa din siya guys, it's also applicable pa din naman, pwede naman siyang gamitin. And especially sa mga fruit-bearing na mga plants, I think they would prefer na organic fertilizers yung gamitin. But for us in mga ornamental collections, dito tayo sa mga non-organic. So ito na yung na-discuss kanina about non-organic or inorganic ng mga fertilizers. Feeling ko si Doc Corn kasi daghan na kinig question ka rin si Doc Corn. So, ayun. Si Sir Abba was able to discuss this one, the term NPK. Ano ba yung NPK? What does N stands for?
Nitrogen,
Nitrogen, and the P stands for
phosphorus,
phosphorus, and the K stands for
potassium.
bakit potassium tapos K?
Chemical symbol.
Ayun. Right, kini mga taga Cebu kita. Yeah, guys. Because letter K, guys, letter K is the chemical symbol of the element potassium. Kasi si phosphorus is pH, potassium is letter K. Huwag din ang tanungin bakit, ano kasi yan eh. Diyos ko, pakapagalitan na naman ako ng inorganic, ano ba to? Inorganic, tama, inorganic chemistry teacher ko nito kasi meron niyang pinagbabasihan guys, yung K, meron niyang may parang Greek name, K. Pero that's for potassium. So NPK, start muna tayo with the nitrogen. Nitrogen, or the letter N, ito yung key component of chlorophyll. So what's the importance of chlorophyll? Ito yung for the photosynthesis para makagawa ng pagkain yung ating mga plants. No photosynthesis, no chlorophyll, no photosynthesis can occur, and no photosynthesis means no food for your plant, and no food for your plant means death. As simple as that. Phosphorus. So this is primarily for the root development. There are still other things guys, yung purpose ng nitrogen and the phosphorus, but generally yung ating phosphorus is for the root development of the plants. That is why yung N, P, and K talaga, they go hand in hand. If you look for fertilizers for your plants, meron din namang mga ibang plants that would require lesser potassium as compared with the nitrogen and phosphorus. But again, it depends on the type of plants. But most of us dito sa mga ornamental, familiar tayo sa complete fertilizer. That's what we are usually using. So, meron ako ditong na tinake note, yung NPK is actually the basic components of our fertilizers na kakailanganin ng ating mga plants. So if we compare this one to us human beings, what are the 3 basic food groups for us? Saban juga sa ako ang biology teacher when we are asked what are the 3 basic food groups for human beings, go, grow, and glow. Kasapan yun nga nasa mga biology teacher back in high school. And she told us, who taught you that? Diba, aminin natin, during elementary, yan talaga yung sinasabi, go, grow, and glow. But it's actually, go, that's for the carbohydrates.
Protein.
Grow, muscle growth, proteins. And glow is fibers. Tama ba? Veggies, mga ganon. Tama ba? Tama? Yun. So yun yung go, grow, and glow for plants. For humans. For plants naman, N, P, and K. So, diba? Go, grow, and glow talaga. Proud na proud ba kaming sumagot nun? Go, grow, and glow, ma'am! Talagang ganun yung teachers. Who taught you that? Very strict si Miss Alpafara, my biology teacher back in high school. Ito again, experiment which type of fertilizer is suitable for you. Again, there is no hard rule, guys, like for the specific plant, ito kadami, ganito ka-frequent. It would still depend on the actual scenario of your plants in yung mga gardens. Especially, meron namang fertilizers that are slow release, meron mga easily na-absorb ng mga plants. So, depende pa din sa inyo kung ano yung preferred ninyong gamitin. Ito, beware of fake products, guys. Especially now that yung online selling is very accessible to everybody. Shopee, Lazada, yes, correct, Lazada. Even on marketplace, napakarami nagbebenta. But be very careful in buying these products. Ako din mismo, before I was also victimized by this one. Any familiar, what are the usual fertilizers that we use in our gardens?
Osmocote.
Sir?
Osmocote.
Bibigyan ko talaga ito ng award si Sir. Kasi dami-dami niya mga answers.
Osmocote.
Osmocote. Osmocote is actually a brand name. Yan. Osmocote is a brand name. Any other fertilizers that you are familiar with? No fertilizer. It's very understandable. Moments. Urea. It's also fertilizer. Urea, guys. Ihi. It's a good source of nitrogen. Wait, ano ba yung scientific ng urea? NH3 ata?
NH3.
NH3, yes, correct. NH3 yan. Ano pa ba? Maxicoat, it's also another brand name. Thermocoat. Kulikot. Hindi. Be very careful in buying those products naman. I'm also a victim of it kasi nakabili ako ng... Baka pagalitan tayo dito pag mag-mention ako ng product name. Anyway, ganito na lang. I bought this known then na product and it's supposed to be a slow release. And I was very excited to apply it to my plants. Kakarating lang ng fertilizer na ito, ng complete fertilizer na ito, ng colorful na fertilizer na ito. Hindi na. So, isang clue na yun. Yes, Ma'am Emily.
Might die.
Pa? I don't know. I haven't tried it, so I really can't say anything about it. But I've seen some other content creators using it. Yung vetsin kasi is monosodium glutamate. Sodium and glutamate. Ano ba yung glutamate?
It's an amino acid.
Ano yung glutamate?
Amino acid.
Amino acid. So maybe nitrogen then. No? Perhaps. Vetsin. So I cannot say anything about it, Ma'am Emily. I haven't tried it. So that's why you should experiment.
Virgin is 501 NPK.
501 NP 501. So mayroon siyang yung ano pala guys, yung 14 14 14 501, meron ding 13 13 14. It means by grams yan. So when we say 14 14 14 NPK, automatic yan. NPK yung kanyang sunod-sunod. In 100 grams of your fertilizer, it contains 14 grams of nitrogen, 14 grams of phosphorus in phosphate na ito. And I think yung nitrogen din in saglit lang. Kasi yung nitrogen itself is gas yan eh. In a different form. And yung potassium naman yung K in potash form yan. So kaya solid siya. 14, 14, 14. And the rest, parang fillers na niya para ma-solidify, ma-bring down yung one thing. Basta yan yung content. So, nasabi ni Sir kanina, it's, MSG is 501 and wala siyang phosphorus and meron siyang 1 na potassium. So, pwede siya. To answer Ma'am Emily's question, So pwede siya, pero hindi siya complete kasi zero yung kanyang phosphorus na content. So going back to our story with the colorful fertilizer that I bought online, so I was very excited to use it. And so nag-apply na ako sa aking Lichleriana. Kinabukasan, when I checked on my plant, they were all like lying down and the stems were already color brown. So I was really, and I added that fertilizer to 10 pots of my propagation, and all of them are Lichlerianas. That time that was 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I think 2022. At that time it was still quite expensive, the Lichleriana. So charge the experience. What happened was that that fertilizer, that complete fertilizer, was supposed to be slow release. So when we say slow release, guys, it should last for like 2-3 months. But then, just for one day, na ano siya, na hindi siya nag-slow release, nag-fast release siya. So what I did was that I tested, I picked a small amount and threw it sa grass. And kinabukasan nag-brown yung grass. So hindi siya slow release. So that's one thing I've learned when using fertilizers. Test muna. I-test. Huwag munang ipag-ayuda sa lahat ng mga halaman. Test muna and check if it's okay to use. Kasi there are fake products that are available on it. So it's also good to buy those branded talaga. Ayun, okay. Guys, aside from these things that I discussed, so there are actually so many other fertilizers na pwede pang gamitin. Pwede nyong, siguro if anybody here who's using some other fertilizers na hindi natin na-mention, you might care to share, Ma'am Emily? Seaweeds. Medyo may pagka-organic. Pwede siya. Para siyang siguro mapapart siya sa mga compost. Even the even the old leaves natin ng mga plants natin, guys, they can still form part as fertilizer para sa ating mga existing na mga plants. Yung nag-wither ng mga leaves, pwede yan maging fertilizer kasi organic matters yan eh. Meron pa din yung mga nutrients na available. So nasa part 5 na tayo ngayon ng ating discussion. Dito tayo sa mga fungicides and pesticides. So, I think ito na yung magiging medyo madugo na part kasi sa part na ito na yung ang hirap-hirap na talagang kontrolin kasi it involves third parties na sa ating garden na ayaw talaga natin. Number 1, fungicide is not equal to pesticide. Yung fungicides po ay hindi sila magkaparehas with the pesticide. Fungicides have a different purpose. The same way yung pesticides, meron din siyang ibang purpose, meron siyang ibang role na gagawin para sa ating mga plants. But I think siguro si insecticides baka pwede siyang maging under ng pesticides. Baka lang, I think pwede din siya yung insecticide. So, ano lang natin, let's just tackle on these two, yung fungicide versus the pesticide. Fungal diseases in plants, ito, one of the worst things that could happen to our plants. Fungal diseases. Anybody here would want to share their experience with fungal attacks or fungal diseases with their plants? Doc Corn. Gusto na ako interviewin si Doc Corn. Fungal diseases, Doc.
They easily infect and spread other plants. So be careful. I usually cut the leaves. But sir, when you apply, like for example, Detain, is it guaranteed it will not spread anymore? It will not progress? Supposedly. So kung may rustic or leafy spots na you apply Detain, most likely hindi na siya magpro-progress. Yes, correct. So if ever, because it's either prophylaxis or treatment. So when you do prophylaxis, at least once a week. But when you do treatment, how often do you give?
Very good question. So may mga prophylaxis na tayo ng mga terms. Kasi Doc Corn is a medical doctor para sa mga ano natin. Ito, yung ano guys, yung effect ng mga fungus sa ating mga plants, usually yung mga leaf spots, yung mga circles na nakikita natin, yung rusting, which is very, ang tawag dito, madikit siya kanang ragtuol kayo siya sa mga monsteras, rusting, and then pag meron na po siyang mga ganyan guys, it's already irreversible. Meaning to say, if you see some leaf spots, some rusting, hindi na po yan matatanggal kung na-damage na po siya. Ganyan na talaga, meron na siyang remembrance doon. And then Doc Corn was asking is, how often should we apply fungicides? In my case, I apply fungicides once in every 3 weeks. It should be regular. Pwede naman, ito kasi based ito sa experience ko din kasi number one guys, fungicides that I am using is titane. So, ito yung pinaka readily available din, very easy to prepare. Medyo ano nga lang siya, medyo sakit lang talaga sa ilong when we apply it. But pwede naman siyang gawa ng paraan, gamit lang tayo ng face mask. And then apply it sa leaves, sa itaas ng dahon. Kuha tayo ng sample dito. So when we apply, ganito na lang. Dito kayo lalagay. So when we apply our fungicides, we prepare a mixture, yung powder, mix it in. Meron yung mga instructions on how many liters of water or how much powder you add and then kung gaano kadami dun sa package yung i-apply natin. So i-spray na natin siya guys. Spray natin dito sa taas ng dahon, sa ilalim ng dahon, and dito sa ating medium. When we apply also, thank you so much, Madam Z-Trends, for allowing me to use your Brown Beauty as our sample for our fungicide application. That's, kung gusto niyo pong bilhin, 35,000 pesos. Pamain na lang po nito. So si fungicide guys, apply again sa dahon, underleaf, and the medium natin para ma-absorb siya. Kasi si fungicide, yung titane, pwede siyang superficial and pang-systemic. So when we say, tama ba ito? Parang nakakonsyos ako ito. Yung systemic guys, i-absorb yan ng mga roots na ating mga plants. So papasok yan from the roots, paangat doon sa kanyang stem, sa kanyang petioles, sa kanyang mga downs, sa kanyang mga inflorescence. And then yung superficial naman, hindi naman siya, yung superficial is parang sa skin lang din natin para mag-apply tayo ng sunblock. Parang yun yung magiging analogy natin for that one. For the leaves itself. So importante, leaves, the underleaf, and the medium. And also when we apply the fungicide, I would usually do it in the afternoon because it's not advisable to apply in the morning. Kasi once na matamaan yan ng sikat ng araw, masusunog talaga yan. Especially kapag bagong, ano pa siya, yung basang-basa pa talaga. And also, if you feel like, or if you check on the weather forecast, if medyo mafe-feel nyo na uulan, huwag nyo na lang tuloyin yung pag-apply ng fungicide kasi mawawash off lang yan. Useless lang yung pag-apply. So, if you can more or less say na okay lang naman yung weather tonight, apply the fungicide. In my case, I apply it once in every 3 weeks. In your end naman, you try to experiment what's the best frequency. It can be once a month, it can be twice a month, it can be once a week, depending on the severity siguro in your garden. So fungus can be brought by insects, contaminated water, even by air. And this is one thing that I kind of learned or observed nung pabalik-balik na ako punta ng Thailand, guys. They have this garden setup that it's not really a backyard type of garden. It's an enclosed setup. It's an enclosed garden. Kontrolado nila, guys. Hindi siya nababasa ng ulan. Even the air that goes inside, hindi siya yung from all over. It's just from one direction yung air na pumapasok doon sa kanilang mga gardens. And you can really see how beautiful their plants thrive because of the controlled environment that they have. I actually idolize them, and maybe soon I can also apply their garden setup. It's kind of costly kasi tayo medyo we're used to the old ways. So maganda siyang gawing inspiration yung garden setup ng mga Thai friends natin. Controlled environment. Hindi siya nababasa ng ulan. Still, it gets filtered sun all throughout the day. So fungal diseases are preventable by using the fungicides. Meron iba't ibang mga fungicides, Divane, and meron nga yung mga pang-agricultural. Kasi yung fungus din, guys, it's also one of the worst enemies ng mga crops sa sa mga agricultural. So ito naman, punta tayo sa mga pesticides naman, guys. Pests can be very irritating, guys. Spider mites, suking-suki ito sa mga alocasias, mealybugs, yung mga puti-puti na nakikita natin, ito mga pest. Minsan may mga ants. Ano nga yun sa Tagalog yung ants? Langgam. Ay, yung langgam kasi sa Cebuano lumilipad na eh. Yung langgam dun sa Luzon, naglalakad pa. Dito sa amin sa Cebu, sa mga Bisayan, lumilipad na yung langgam. Caterpillars, Diyos ko. Ito yung mga kakairita talaga, yung mga caterpillars, kasi yung mga philodendrons natin, ginagawa nilang fenestrated. So, na-shock na lang tayo kasi kinabukasan naging fenestrated na yung ating mga philodendrons. All of these, guys, pwede yan magawa ng paraan by the application of pesticides. In my case, this is my personal tawag dito, personal experience, or this is what I'm applying dun sa garden ko, guys. I'm using yung medyo ano siya, guys, medyo strong na siya na pesticide. Maybe some of you would disagree with this one, but this is what I'm using currently, and it's proven to be very effective on my end kasi na-maintain talaga yung mga plants ko. I'm using malatayon for my plants. Very strong talaga siya. And I apply it regularly as parang kasing frequent sila, ina-alternate ko lang siya with the fungicide and the pesticide. So again, pesticide is not equal to fungicide. Magkaiba po yung kanilang purpose. And na-prevent kasi niya, guys, yung malatayon na sino ba dito yung makaka-relate na yung meron tayong mga unfurling na mga dahon na mag-unfurl na tapos bigla na lang magkukulubot or may mga lines, mga ganun na style. Most of the mga pests kasi yung mga thrips, binibiktima nila yung mga unfurling na mga dahon kasi medyo juicy pa siya. Madaling kunan ay absorban ng mga fluids. So yun yung suki din nila. So napiprevent talaga siya with the use of the pesticides. Ito, I used to use this, yung neem oil. Ito yung, when I started then with my plant journey, ito nga, gusto natin medyo organic, yung mga gano'n. Neem oil, it's okay to use, but once naging large scale na kasi yung garden natin, and then along the way, guys, parang same lang din yan with the use of antibiotics siguro sa ating mga katawan. Slowly, parang parang hindi na siya nagiging effective, na resistant na siya doon. So, nag-level up na ako ngayon, so that's why I'm using malatayan. There can be so many other options of the pesticides. I highly recommend that you check on them, ask your friends, yung mga close friends niyo from the industry, on what's applicable to them and maybe try to apply it on your end as well. Also, that's it. Natapos na pala yung ating discussion ng mga 5 topics with the lighting, the watering, the medium, the fertilizer, and the pesticides, and the fungicides. So if you have questions, wala na lang po kasi guys, si Mr. Konzo na yung magdi-discuss next one. And I'm very excited din na makinig sa kanyang discussion. Anyway, kung meron kayong question, pwede kayong mag-ask maybe some few questions. The floor is open. Ay, sige po, ma'am.
You mentioned malatayan kasi. How do you use it?
Malatayon guys, when you buy it sa mga agricultural, ano man tawag dyan? Feeds, yung mga nagbibenta ng mga feeds. Agrivet yun, sa mga agrivet ng mga stores. They sell it in bottles like parang antibiotic. And then you mix it, meron niya instructions on how many ml per liter. So in my case, 15 ml equivalent siya, pwede siyang gamitin i-mix into 16 liters of water. So i-mix mo yan siya. And then I use this parang yung pang farmer talaga na hindi naman yung ganun-ganun basta yung ganun-ganun na style. Oh, yan. I prepare a 16 liter na mixture for the malatayon and apply it at least once every 3 weeks. Sige po, ma'am.
Insects ba? Like the bees and the mga nindot na mga insects.
Ma'am Emily was asking is, will it also affect the other good insects like the bees na nagpo-pollinate, yung ganon, yung sa mga ganyan. The ladybugs, well, it also affects them. That's the sad thing. Ganon siya ka-potent. Even yung mga almost, hindi naman, yung mga thrips, hindi naman siya microscopic pero sobrang liliit nila. Even yung nila. Doc, buswag yan. Hindi ko din yan na-try pero I know it's very effective. Yes, any more questions? Yes, snails, nakakaano din yan. Kasi meron yan silang mga remnants na binibigay dun sa mga dahon natin. Yes, exactly. It's also part of the things na dapat natin ibantayan. Pests, guys ha, hindi pets. So hindi kasama yung mga aso dito. Any more questions? Gusto ko magtanong si Sir Butchi. Ay, si Josa Butchi pala. Wala kang question para sa akin?
Yung Santos na malindi.
Hindi ko nadala. Okay. So, with that guys, we'll be concluding our press. Ay, meron ba isang question pala? Sorry, ma'am.
I just want to know about nematodes. I think it's one of the problem of also our plants attacking our plants. That's why I think the main cause of rotting of roots, I think it is because it is infested by nematodes. How do we control that?
Nematodes, ano ba yung mga nematodes? Actually, nakakaano din talaga sila. It's one of the disadvantage of using yung soil for your potting mix kasi attracted or parang yun yung usual nila na pinamumuhayan. Doon sila nagano. So, best thing to do with that is mag-repot ko talaga. Yun yung medyo disadvantage with using talaga the soil. So, sa ngayon guys, this is one of my practices na din ngayon with all my plants, even if alam ko na mas mag-thrive sila with the presence of soil, sana tinatanggal ko na sila dun sa potting mix ko. Pinaka main reason din talaga because I'm more on into trading plants. Hindi ko yan ipagkakaila, guys. I would not say that I'm a collector, but I'm more on a trader, seller ng mga plants, propagator. Also part of my passion na rin yan, guys. Pero honestly speaking, I'm more into selling plants. So yung isa kasi na struggle na na-encounter namin ako before is yung once na merong soil, yung ating potting mix, nakaharang na yan, nakikita yan sa x-ray. So hindi yan tatanggapin ng JRS, ng air cargo, Cebu Pacific PAL. So I removed it in the equation right now, even though mas maganda talaga yung ibang mga plants natin, meron siyang soil na content. That's for me lang, ha. Kung hindi naman kayo into trading or nagbebenta, na kailangan yung ipadala yung mga plants nyo to some other places, continue in using soil mix sa inyong mga medium. Okay, I think. So with that, guys, magpapasalamat po ako sa pakikinig po ninyo sa ating discussion this afternoon. And I'm also looking forward na mag-present din and mag-discuss din si Mr. Kunzo after this one. Maraming salamat po and happy afternoon sa inyo.